Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am far
Herzlich
beyond.
willkommen. Mein Name ist Joe und ich habe gerade über ihn rüber geredet. Das ist Far Beyond.
And we are so excited to welcome you to the culminating event of a 3-month-long workshop series, Cyber Cypher NYC-Berlin.
Yes, wir haben die Ehre, euch heute willkommen zu heißen und ein bisschen durch den Abend zu begleiten. Und wir sind verdammt erfreut darüber, das endlich machen zu können nach 3 Monaten Workshops, Vorbereitung, Kommunikation und so weiter. Die Cyber Cypher ist am Start. Herzlich willkommen auf beiden Seiten des Atlantik.
So as I said, it's been a 3-month-long workshop series of us connecting young people in New York with young people in Berlin. And why don't we just jump right in, right? And invite our project participant or our project director and lead engineer, Yusuf and Olad, to the stage. Come on up, guys.
Wir wollen gar nicht viel Zeit verlieren. Lass uns direkt hier die Leute einladen, die bei dem Projekt die ganze Zeit mitgeschaltet und mitgewaltet haben. Und zwar der Direktor des Projektes, Olad, und Yusuf, der leitende Engineer von dem ganzen Projekt dieses Mal. Herzlich willkommen.
Guys, hey. How are you doing, man? Why don't we just jump in real quick to keep this show moving? Olad, can you tell us a little bit about the project between New York and Berlin and how this specific component, this Cyber Cypher, came about?
Yeah, I mean, like we've been doing the BronxBerlinConnection for like 11 years, as you know. And now with Corona coming down upon us like this last year, we kind of had to cancel everything, and we decided to just simply get together virtually and to work out this Cyber Cyphers project where we just connected young people from Berlin and New York City via Zoom. The idea was for them to create music, create art, like, videography, music, and so forth. And that's what's been happening. So, like, I'm super excited about what we've been doing for the last 4 or 5 months.
So let me ask you one thing, because you're all used to traveling the world and having exchanges taking place all over the place. So this is the first time that we're not able to do that, and we're connecting virtually, like you just said. So for you three, just let me know, what were the main differences in having people exchange, or do you have any obstacles you had to face? Let me know.
I mean, yeah, the obstacle is that, you are on a screen, and that's not, in the end of the day, it's not going to replace actual exchange, like traveling to each other's cities, getting ready for all that. If you go to New York, every borough smells differently. There's so many different cultures, and so, you have obvious limits, but this is a nice first step. And obviously, we'd like to get back to doing the actual physical exchange as soon as that's possible again. But in the meantime, while everybody's sitting in their homes, socially distanced, not able to go outside, I think it's all about connections. And right now, they can only be virtual. So, but it still gives you a sense of being connected to a group, to different people, to people on the other side of the planet. So it's valuable. It's not a replacement, but it's sort of what we can do in this crazy time that we live in.
I concur with Olad, but I will also say it's been more profound in some ways. Going through quarantine, living through this, you kind of feel like you're alone. I mean, people are alone, right? People are stuck in their homes and stuck having to be on lockdown. I think it's been amazing to be able to connect with someone across the world that's going through a similar experience, and for us to share our stories and our experiences through quarantine and COVID has made us realize we're not alone, we're connected. Yusuf, what has been your perspective on this?
It was interesting, because for me, the whole thing made me realize that nowadays everything can be done through a phone. If you have a phone, you download the app, you connect with anyone, whatever they are, and you create anything, if it comes to dancing or music or whatever. And it's kind of made me think at the beginning of the project, like the first 2 meetings, I was like, people back in the days, they had none of this, and they communicated anyway. They send letters and they just give a word, and the word is, so a human being has been connecting through the whole, like through the life without meeting in person, and a lot of great stuff has been created without meeting in person. So I kind of brought me a little bit this idea to think about that is crazy what you can do with the technology we have now, and that helped us a lot. I mean, it won't replace, like Ola said, it won't replace like me meeting you in person, but it still did a great job.
Yeah.
Let me ask you one more thing, because I'm really interested in it. I'm gonna ask that in German in a minute too. Like sometimes if you have limits, and that brings out a certain kind of creativity or innovation because you have certain limitations that you just can't do. Did you encounter something like this along the way? Ich sage das nochmal auf Deutsch. Also manchmal ist es ja so, dass wenn man Limits hat, wenn man plötzlich Sachen nicht machen kann, dadurch aus der Not eine große Kreativität erwächst oder irgendwelche neuen Ideen. Ist es euch irgendwie über diesen Weg auch so gegangen?
You
can also answer in German if you want to, for the German-speaking listeners.
Ola, you want to take this?
Oh, well, we can both take it. I mean, like, you know, like at the end of the day, it's like, you know, usually when you have physical get-togethers, when you come together and so forth, you have group meetings and you can, you know, talk about issues, things that are maybe not going as well, or, you know what I mean? In this sense, it's like we are all sort of together, but then at the same time, we're not physically together. And so sometimes it's hard to read somebody. So if you know, like the challenge to me has always been like, okay, you know, it's if you're trying to get somebody to like show up on time, or, you know, if you want people to put more effort into, like, you know, doing whatever, it's kind of hard to do that via text, via email, via Zoom, you know what I mean? But like, we didn't have many issues like that because everybody that was part of this program was like really committed, as you will be able to see when you see some of the content that was created. So I'm like super satisfied with it. I just see potentially for different projects, I see there could be a lot of issues, but there weren't major issues in this one, not to me.
Yeah, I mean, it had like, beside the negative points that you can meet in person, it had really good positive points that happened. For example, it was very organized meetings all the time. Like if we were all at the same time, at the same place live, like you would find 2 guys hanging alone and these people hanging together, and they talk about different things. But in these meetings, we were all in the same place at the same time, talking about the same thing. And it was very organized. People showed up and we exchanged ideas that might not happen if we have met in person. So this is what I liked about this.
All right. So we have a video to watch, but I also, just for our people on Facebook, we are live. We're having a little technical difficulties on the YouTube end. So we're going to take a quick kind of 1-minute break to kind of reshift and restart everything. After the break, we'll watch the video and we'll just keep going on with the show. But I just think we need to do a quick restart. So Facebook fam, thank you for being out there. Make sure you hit us up in the chat if you have any questions or any comments. And I'm about to pop the Facebook link in YouTube. We'll be back in 5 seconds. Well, not 5 seconds, probably a minute. Talk about, you know, living in the year 2021, virtual streams. We've been having some technical difficulties, right, Joe?
Yeah, we did. And actually, I'm pretty happy because like this, people can actually witness live how it is to be confronted with that kind of technology the whole time, and being able to handle it. And, you know, these are some of the challenges we're facing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a lot easier when we're in the same room. And cooler when you're in Berlin and you're from New York, or when you're in New York from Berlin. But we push through and we push through. We push through. Let's keep the show going. We have a kind of live lead. We have a lead of the show, just going to give you some like background footage of what the process looked like and some participant reflections. Why don't we watch that?
Für alle Deutschsprachigen, lass uns einfach mal einen Film gucken, um uns einen besseren Überblick zu verschaffen nach diesen technischen Störungen. Ja? Enjoy.
New York and Berlin, we've been collaborating like this, particularly this group crew, for over 10 years. There's documentaries, albums, there's music videos. All our brilliance is going to create something that has never been seen before. I'm 100% positive behind that. I think the first step, though, is going to be music. We've got some lyricists in this group, we've got some singers in this group, and we've got some beats. If you are a visual artist, filmmaker, or dancer, be inspired by these beats and music. Maybe there's something there as well, right? The sky's the limit.
Ich bin Max Bill, 22 Jahre alt, schöne Schnapszahl.
Hi everyone, my name is Anas Ahmed and I am currently based in New York City, in Staten Island.
Also mein Name ist Tolga, ich bin 24 Jahre alt, ich mache Rapmusik.
Hi, I'm Ava, I'm currently in Brooklyn.
Ich bin Valentina, ich bin 22 Jahre alt.
My name is Bob Black, I'm 24 years old, from Brooklyn.
Ich bin Hannah, ich bin 21 Jahre alt.
Hi, my name is Serena. I go by Gigi or the Trip. I'm 17 years old and I live in Brooklyn.
Hi, ich bin Kevin, ich bin 23 Jahre alt, komme aus Berlin-Schöneberg.
Hi everyone, my name is Tuan-Ming Albert Do. I'm 21 years old, I use he/him pronouns, and I'm currently in Manhattan, New York.
Ich bin Esther, mein Künstlername ist Majesta, ich bin 21 Jahre alt.
What's up everyone, my name is Kenneth Onesimus Gubran. I'm 21 years old and I'm repping Lower East Side Manhattan as well as Nassau County, Long Island.
Hi, ich bin George.
Hi, my name is Tatiana Harrison. I'm from the Bronx.
Hi, ich bin Samuel, ich bin 27 Jahre alt.
Hallo, ich bin Johanna, ich bin Sängerin, 22 Jahre alt.
The first word I had to learn to say was Charlottenburg.
That's what I live.
You have to know how to say Charlottenburg.
All right, so we're basically doing like a Zoom call, but a video shoot. I mean, a video. Like the video shoot is gonna be a Zoom call to a video shoot to a Zoom call to a video shoot.
So we got the song basically for the music video. What we're gonna be doing is I already filmed some stuff, and everyone's gonna film their own verse, basically just like rapping it or singing it or however they're gonna do it. Then each one of us are gonna listen or watch the other person's and try to copy each other's movements.
Hello, so we've got Anes and I are working on like more of a spoken word piece.
Sorry, before we finish this, can I just talk to Bashim real quick and after that to Olat real quick?
Yeah, sure. All right.
Yeah, I need to.
I'm out. Peace.
Page.
Y'all
better hurt me, man. I gotta get with my yoga. Yo,
sorry for disturbing, but it's very serious. It's important.
It's very serious. Oh.
Olat, it's about money.
It just takes 1 minute with Bashim.
Man, I got connection problems, son.
Just 1 minute with Bashim and 30 seconds with you after that.
Ich bin 23 Jahre alt, ich bin Sängerin, Songwriterin, ja, auch mal halt hier und da Moderatorin. Klappe und die zweite, Mann. Okay, hallo, mein Name ist Johanna, ich bin Sängerin, 23 Jahre alt, komme aus Berlin und bin Singer, Songwriter und das ist es eigentlich auch schon jetzt für dieses Projekt. Soll ich einfach mal so ein bisschen labern? Genau, wir haben uns hier getroffen. Nein, stopp, vor dem Zoom-Call haben wir uns getroffen und haben uns die Beats angehört, wir haben geguckt, hey, was könnte passen, wer hat welche Idee und sind einfach mal da reingesprungen. Dann während des Zoom-Calls wurden wir in Gruppen aufgeteilt, Chat, Rooms. Es war wie so ein virtuelles Speed-Dating. Wir haben dann zusammen ausgemacht, wer mit wem zusammenarbeitet. Ich für meinen Teil bin jetzt auf den Song raufgejumpt, werde die Hook singen. Ansonsten habe ich noch eine andere Kollaboration. Ansonsten habe ich noch eine andere Ansonsten habe ich noch ein anderes Feature am Start. Und ja, war nice. Hat auf jeden Fall mega Bock gemacht. Ich freue mich, was kommt. Ich habe den jetzt auch schon auf Instagram geschrieben. So ein bisschen, um mal Hi zu sagen nochmal. So, ne, man soll sich nicht aus den Augen verlieren. Auch wenn wir New York, Berlin sind. Ich habe Bock und ich freue mich. Bis dann! Ihr werdet im Februar sehen, was kommt.
All right. And we are back. That was a phenomenal video, a good peek into the process. That is not the documentary, though. It is still in the works. We have a lot of other footage. Joe, what'd you think?
Ja, also erstmal an alle willkommen zurück. Das war ein kleiner Einblick in das Projekt, so dass man sich mal ein bisschen ein Bild davon machen kann. Das ist übrigens nicht das Dokumentarding, das kommt später noch verzögert. I think we gotta mention one thing for the people not to just lean back and consume. There's a possibility for you to interact with us, and we would be happy if you do that too. So feel free to drop us a comment or a question on YouTube or Facebook. Bitte fühlt euch frei, einfach uns einen Kommentar oder Fragen auf YouTube zu den verschiedenen Projekten, die ihr noch sehen werdet, zu stellen, und wir versuchen, die mit einzubringen. Wir haben da so ein Auge drauf. We keep an eye on it, right, Fab?
Yes, we're keeping an eye on it. And let's keep this show going and bring up to the stage our first crew of youth artist participants. Let's give it up for Kenny, Malika, and Ming. Yeah. What up, y'all?
Hey,
Hey.
Fab.
Hey,
How are you guys doing?
Pretty great.
Doing well.
Yo, thank you for sticking through all these technical difficulties, but let's keep focused on the show. We're gonna watch your video. Is there anything you guys want to say before we watch it?
Enjoy.
I think we're good to jump into it.
All right,
Same
excellent.
here.
Get right to it.
So we'll continue this conversation on the back end. We are about to watch Empty Colors by Kenny, Malika, and Ming.
Los geht's.
Never pull back on my jabs. When I see money I grab, covered in scabs, sit in the back of the cab, calling the lab. I did not come from the rags, but I'm still searching for riches and digits. I never burning my bridges. I let them back on the island, greet them in style with smiles and give them asylum from all the sirens and smoke. Not all environments woke, leaving kids crying and broke. People should know that our tyrant's a joke. He just be lying in bulk, I just be lighting the hoke. I just be speaking to folk, Primo be killing the stick and the poke. Understand there's some people around me who want their emotions provoked. They just be living for drama. You can catch me in the opera. I cannot stick to one genre. Putting coffee in the vodka, wearing the mambas. I don't know nada. I don't know nada. I just be living in panorama. May not be good as Pinata, but I got plenty of time to reach my Nirvana.
Hast du's schon längst kommen sehen? Sie wollen uns klein halten und zusammenfalten wie ein Origami. Aber wir halten dagegen, wir gehen auf Safari, feiern das Leben und den Erfolg. Wir machen's ganz genau, wie wir es wollen. Es fließen Schweiß, Tränen, Blut, doch wir behalten unseren Mut, sind füreinander da, laufen Weg gemeinsam. Keiner kann uns aufhalten, laufen Weg gemeinsam. Keiner kann uns aufhalten.
I can't wait to be legitimate, son of an immigrant, mirroring my raw life, I'm also living it. But all it takes is one incident, I'm innocent, just pursuing happiness, that's almost here, it's imminent. Idziemy, walczymy i nigdy do tyłu, wstajemy do przodu, do chodu, wśród chodu mam wiele powodów, uniknionych ciosów od tych, którzy tylko są pośród tych osób. No losses, my conscience might make you quite nauseous, I've known this, mój sukces dobędę w swój sposób. Dosyć to learn and develop new notions, dosyć ma przyszłość, przyniesie ci dowód. Could I just say disobey to the power, my hour is now and I never will cower. Power dla mojej rodziny i bliskich, miejsce przy stole dla wszystkich.
closing round of applause.
Verdammt gut aus.
Can you tell us a little bit about the process, right? Because you guys obviously all have experience filming videos and editing music videos, correct?
Relatively, I've never edited a video before, so it was fun. 3 different languages, 3 different locations, and 3 different cameras. Trying to get it all onto the same thing was a challenge, but something super fun to try to do, especially while trying to coordinate sending things, getting things back, doing all that stuff all online, which was crazy.
Yeah, man. What was it like connecting with someone halfway around the world who may had similar experiences, but definitely had a different experience? What was that process like?
Well, it was super fun for me personally because, like, as we know, we've all been in quarantine, and the only people that I've really been talking to or kind of having any sort of relationship with are either people that I already knew or my family who I live in the same house with. So Malika, who I had the pleasure of doing this song with in this video, was actually like the first friend that I made in like months, because we don't go outside to meet new people. I'm not like chatting with people in any other way. So to meet someone and to kind of talk through our experiences and what's going on and to collaborate and create something completely new based on basically an idea that we all had to come up together was really, really awesome.
Malika, you now have really good friends in New York City, right?
Yes, I'm very happy and excited about that.
How is the experience for you in terms of the songwriting and communicating along the ideas of the song?
Well, for me, I can just only repeat like what Kenny said. It was like a whole lot of fun to get to know a bunch of new people, like such talented and interesting people. Also, like to get an insight of what's happening, like in the States and especially in New York. Like you always see things about the States from news or from social media, but now I really got an insight from people. I like really, yeah, I have a place in my heart for them now. I have a place in my home for them to sleep. So it was just like a really nice exchange. Like I saw the lyrics Kenny was writing. I saw the theme, the idea. I really like connected to it, and I directly wrote a hook, and yeah, that's how it all started. And the outcome is just like I couldn't have imagined something like that.
Excellent, excellent.
That's beautiful to hear that you guys are connecting like that. I mean, that's what exchanges do, bring people together also for when the physical distancing is over. How was it for you, man? Like, do you have some personal highlights or something you want to share?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. For me, it was, I mean, again, it was fun just to collaborate and work on a new project, and sort of what Kenny said, like getting to work in 3 different languages. That was the first time I truly, because I also speak Polish, so I was like, let me try and see if I can come up with something in this language. And then there's that aspect of distance, right? Which like we were never in the same room. Which, you know, like one could look at and go like, you never get to hear the other person, and like sort of take that and then try and interpret it. But then what this process allowed for is sort of that like, oh, okay, I know you're working on something, I'm gonna work on something. And then that moment of like you come together and then all of a sudden you get to hear the other part. Like I remember hearing Malika's for the first time and I thought, wow, like there's a whole thing that she just created based on what Kenny wrote, and then I'm going to try and write something. So a very, very fun process for sure.
Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your work. We're going to keep this show moving.
And you're going to join us later, right? Ihr kommt später nochmal zurück.
Yeah, they'll come back they'll come back at the tail end of the show. We're going to keep this show moving. And let's bring up to the stage our next participants with an amazing video, Inez and Valentina. Inez and Valentina.
Kommt rein.
Hey, Fabio, how's it going?
Hey, man. Life is great.
Hello, hello.
Wie geht's, Valentina?
Danke. And you?
Yes. Alles klar.
Alles klar.
Super. You know what, guys?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's you know, we're running a little behind schedule because of technical difficulties. Let's jump into the video and we'll continue this conversation afterwards, okay?
Okay.
Hey, yo. Yo, can you hear me? Well, if you're listening, let me take you back to paradise. When we black and brown angels were young with song. You did?
Sei du selbst und halt dich fest. Heutzutage ist vieles verstellt und wir leben in dieser Welt. Doch du bist der Held für diese Welt. Sei du selbst und halt dich fest. Heutzutage ist vieles verstellt und wir leben in dieser Welt. Doch du bist der Held für diese Welt. Doch zeig doch mal Liebe, Ehrlichkeit, Akzeptanz, ob schwarz oder weiß. Das Herz schlägt leicht. Doch zeig doch mal Liebe, Ehrlichkeit, Akzeptanz, ob schwarz oder weiß. Das Herz schlägt leicht. Wir sind alle im Herzen eine Einheit, unsere Freiheit. Sei bereit und schätze deine Zeit, denn das Leben soll ein Highlight sein und sei befreit. Wir sind alle im Herzen eine Einheit, unsere Freiheit. Sei bereit und schätze deine Zeit, denn das Leben soll ein Highlight sein und sei befreit. Egal wie weit, niemals allein, im Herzen rein und so befreit. Egal wie weit, niemals allein, im Herzen rein und so befreit. Doch zeig doch mal Liebe, Ehrlichkeit, Akzeptanz, ob schwarz oder weiß. Das Herz schlägt leicht.
All right.
So that looks really dope. Round of applause for you guys. Let me start off by asking Valentina in German. Dieses Video, ich werde da mal ganz nostalgisch, ist gleichzeitig auch mein Kiez und so. Es ist irgendwie schön, das alles zu sehen. Kannst du erzählen, was so die Idee, was die Gedanken dahinter waren, die ihr euch zusammen überlegt habt, warum ihr euch für dieses Projekt entschieden habt, wie sich das entwickelt hat? Ich übersetze es kurz für die englischen Zuhörer. I was asking about her idea, how they came up with that song, with that video, how they interacted to get it started. Like, yeah. Valentina's gonna answer.
Ja, erstmal an dieser Stelle möchte ich mich kurz für alle bedanken, die mitgewirkt haben in dieses tolle Projekt, dass wir trotz der Umstände tolle Sachen auf die Beine gestellt haben. Und jetzt die Brücke zu uns, was uns inspiriert hat, war einfach, dass wir uns einfach Herzen verbunden haben und unsere Gegend aufnehmen, wo wir gerne sind und wo wir unsere Zeit mit Freunden verbringen. Und das ist dabei rausgekommen. Der Prozess an sich war mega entspannt. Wir haben uns ziemlich schnell gefunden. Wir wussten genau, wo wir hinwollen. Wir wussten genau, wie das alles aussehen soll. Wir waren ziemlich schnell auf einer Ebene, auch trotz der Kommunikation. Das stand uns auf gar keinen Fall im Weg. Genauso wie die Pandemie. Es stand uns einfach nichts im Wege und das ist dabei rausgekommen.
Vielen Dank. That's beautiful to hear. But she was saying that you just kind of connected naturally and it was all easy going, even though there was a language barrier and all that. Like neither the language nor COVID could stand in your way to connect and come up with something like that. So it was good to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to commend them on how well you guys worked together. Every group worked well together, but you two in particular, there was an obvious language barrier and there were times where you were in a breakout room by yourselves And whenever I would pop in the room, it was never silent. Like there was never an awkward silence. You guys were like trying to communicate. Inez, can you talk about what the process was like communicating when you didn't speak the same language?
Yeah, for sure. Firstly, like me and Valentina, like I think the ways how we communicate with each other is that first off, offline, off of Zoom, we would communicate through Instagram. We would share ideas back and forth, just throw them by each other, and see how we receive it. And depending on how that goes, we would articulate that into either the song or the video. And during the Zoom meetings themselves, I'm not gonna lie, like Google Translate was my best friend. Like it did go a long way for me. But we found ways to simplify our languages to easily understand one another. We'd share in the chat box any phrases that we want the other person to search up, and then we'd search it up and understand what the other person's saying. And so just having that open and fluid communication with one another really helped translate into the end product of our song and our video.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, the Hip Hop Re-Education Project, we have a pillar of membership that says carry a passport. And it's obvious you carry a passport to travel, but what is needed for travel is an open mind and a willingness to be uncomfortable, right? So it's like to be in a situation where like, oh, what do we do? And not be afraid, but just say, what phrase could I send them for them to look up and help us communicate? You guys deserve a round of applause for your work together. So thank you. We're gonna keep this moving, guys. We'll bring you back at the end. Let's bring up to the stage our next performer, Gigi, who's actually not a performer, but a visual artist, right? We just didn't have musicians and poets, but we had a visual artist. Gigi, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
Hey,
you
guys.
are. Gigi, let's jump in this. Now, I know it's going to be a little awkward because you can't necessarily see, but I will tell you what is up. I mean, we know what the order, right? You know the order.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Corey James Gray, the man behind the curtain running the show for us. First off, once again, big applause. I think this is probably the first time I said this. Big ups to Corey James Gray, aka Outspoken, and the Freestyle Mondays fam for helping us produce the show. Go ahead and play that slideshow, and we will let us know when it's live, and we'll let Gigi talk about it. Okay. So Gigi, go ahead and move from the first slide to the second slide so we can see Gigi's first piece. Gigi, your first piece, tell us a little bit about it, right? So first off, the process was you made a piece of artwork for all the videos, correct?
Yes, I did. I made artworks for each and every video so that they can have their individual cover for their music that they made.
So we're looking at Paradise, Brooklyn right now. Can you tell us a little bit about this piece?
Okay, Paradise Brooklyn was just a song that y'all just listened to. It was like a mixture of the Brooklyn Bridge and the Berlin Bridge. They wanted an idea of both bridges kind of like being together as one. And since I had different projects, I told them that it was going to take a lot of time to make sure the details are there and everything. So I said, how about we do like the bridge itself will be all black and then there's like a white highlight around it. And then they said that they wanted like a sunset type of background. So I did like the blend between the colors.
I really definitely get the sunset vibe. And if anyone has ever been to Berlin, there's something about the sunset standing on Warschauer Straße, right? And you're kind of looking off into the distance. You're looking at the city. There's just such a beautiful tone and hue to that. And I see that in this painting. I'm just going to tell you.
And we're really hoping to welcome you to Oberbaumbrücke for real soon.
Yes. Can we go on to the next piece? So now we are looking at the second image, which is, tell us what about it.
Okay, so the second image, it's actually the piece made by Kenny, Malika, and Ming. they had the concept in their song. So like basically I had asked them, what do you guys want the cover to be like? They was like, I'm not sure right now. So I said, what is your song about? And they said like breaking free, being able to like do what you gotta do. And I felt like that was like an example of like a bird finally breaking free from its nest and flying away. So I said, how about like a bird flying away? And then me and Kenny talked on the background and everything. He said that looked amazing if the bird was glowing itself. So I made the concept of the bird was going blue and then the bird was just white on the like outside and everything. So you just see everything around it started to glow because it was making its own path to see anything it has to see.
Oh man, it was walking its path or flying its path. Oh, excellent, excellent. Let's move on to the next piece. Go ahead.
So yes, the next piece. The next piece is actually talking about how sorry. The next piece is actually talking about how what is the next piece again? I can't really see. Can you remind me?
Saxophobe.
The saxophone. So the saxophone one is a piece made by Tatiana. Unfortunately, that's not going to be a piece that we're going to see today. But it was actually a concept, like it was like actually the first piece I had started doing because it was just like the rough draft and then I just started sketching and everything. So basically she has the beats and of the music is going to be the saxophone itself. So she said, let's make it a saxophone, like do a saxophone for the covers. So it's like representing the music and the song for itself.
Yes, that song is not done, but something tells me it is going to eventually get done, and we will use that artwork. And if I recall correctly, I'm actually pulling this up. The next piece is CYW.
CYW. Okay, CYW is a Ness and Ming's piece. It's like a spoken piece. It talks about how two individuals have an idea about how success is supposed to be like, and they decided that it's going to be a faceless person with no features because at first I had said that I struggle as an artist with the eyes. So like I didn't want to put the eyes there. So I said we could find a way to like cover the eyes up, like put the name of the work there or something like that. And then we started talking even more, saying that it will look nice without like the face features because it will like show like they're trying to find their own path and try and shape themselves and make themselves look the way they want for that path.
Awesome. You know what? This is the last piece that you worked on. So I have one more question before we move on. Well, I have two questions. First question is, how old are you, Gigi?
I'm actually 17. I'm turning 18 this year.
You're 17, turning 18. You were definitely the youngest participant in the project. Was that ever overwhelming for you to be around cats in their mid-20s and like working on music?
At first, when I found out that I was the youngest person in the group, I personally was kind of freaked out. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be the youngest person in this group. I hope they don't treat me differently. But like over the time, I started to see that this was just a group of people that had their own artistic views and everything. And like it wasn't based off of how old you are or who you are as a person. It was more based off of like, hey, we have the same type of skills, or like we could do this together. Let's collab. It was like more of a let's focus on the work instead of the age or something like that.
That's phenomenal. And then we're looking at one last piece, which you did not do, but we want to highlight the work of Tatiana, who you will all meet shortly. It is a piece called New Berlin. Thank you for including that in the slideshow. We're going to give you one more round of applause, Gigi. Appreciate all your hard work, and we'll call you back up at the very end, okay?
Okay.
Let's keep this moving and bring up our next act. Let's welcome to the stage Tolga, Bashim, and Lenny.
Was los, Leute? Wie geht's euch?
Hey. Hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? So, guys, we're gonna caught this conversation on the back end, but why don't we jump into that video and watch it?
Go.
It's time for Gangway and Goethe style now in action. Call it Berliner, New Yorker connection. Fucking your life and we do another session. In Zoom, no progression, work until we reach perfection. Smoke another jib and write my bars until I kill it. You are the only one who can tell yourself that you got a limit. Even when those bars are not my language, wait until I switch it. Wait until I switch it, I said wait until I switch it. Fick besser, fick Richter, Digga willst Spielchen spielen, komm her, ich bin der Riddler. Chicks kommen auf mich zu und wollen Kinder und du verbringst dein Leben auf Tinder. Batzen, Platzen, Money, Lila, rauche viel lieber Sativa. Kommst nicht klar auf meine Lieder, reibst dir deine Augenlider. Ich sag, lass es besser sein, ja du weißt schon was ich mein. Habe keine Zeit dir zu verweilen, ich gehe nur rein um zu verteilen. Batzen, Platzen, Money, Lila, rauche viel lieber Sativa. Kommst nicht klar auf meine Lieder, reibst dir deine Augenlider. Ich sag, lass es besser sein, ja du weißt schon was ich mein. Habe keine Zeit dir zu verweilen, ich gehe nur rein um zu verteilen.
New York to Berlin, like Lil Uzi got no friends. I'm teed up in my jeans cut, back shopping out of Berlin. Ben Trent, I could bend 10. Rockstar, I could do better. Ice shining like who's weather. Playboy, I'm a hue. Got a bad bitch out of German. Her man mad, keep lurking. In a Bentley, I'm swerving. Getting head what I'm surfing. When Stern Silver with a goose sweater. Her friends coming, so T coming. He rolling up while the hookah smoking. Shorty busting open like a newsletter. I'm in Frankfurt flying hummingbirds. Big yacht back to Nuremberg. Thick bone with some nice curves. Good trees, so we herds. Pretty trees, pussy purge. ASAPs for my girl Ferge. Bluetooth, so you know we merged. Nah, fuck that. Yeah, I'm pissed off. Middle lines, I'm a big dog. Clothes off and her heels on. She mighty pops, I peeled off. Got bent over on her back hunch. Yeah, I ate good, I ain't had lunch. Legs stiff on her ass jump. Yeah, we playing B on the last month.
All right, all right, all right. Yo, that video is phenomenal. Got to give you guys a round of applause. I want to start off by just talking a little bit about, I think this piece in particular has the most new school vibe to it of all the work that was created, right? And I know whenever I popped into your room, you guys were always talking about music, right? And you're always talking about like kind of the stuff you're listening to and the stuff you're interested in. Is there a difference between listening to music, new school hip hop today in Berlin, and listening to new school hip hop today in New York? What was the common ground that you guys shared musically, even though you may have spoke different languages?
Well, I mean, for my opinion, I feel like we both was like connected in a way with hip hop. From Berlin, Togo was really, a big fan of hip hop. I'm really a big fan of hip hop and other genres also. So it's like we're both like how could we mix it up? How could we, make something different out of this? And I mean, like the difference, the new hip hop of New York and the new hip hop of Berlin, like the new music, I feel like it's more dominant. And as you can see, it's like more talent coming out,
Yeah, man. Well, there's definitely, I think like what trap and drill as a beat foundation is like universal, right? And the flows that one approaches with that type of music, even if you're speaking a different language, ends up being somewhat universal, right?
It's all over the place.
Yeah, man.
Vielleicht kann ich euch beide auch nochmal fragen, dieses Mal auf Deutsch. Das ist ja schon eine relativ merkwürdige Erfahrung. Also ihr macht alle schon so ein bisschen Mucke seit einiger Zeit, aber zum ersten Mal, glaube ich, in diesem virtuellen Leute kennenlernen, die man noch nie davor gesehen hat, mit denen man sich connecten muss, einmal auf dem kreativen Level, aber auch persönlich. Wie war das für euch? Gebt mal so ein bisschen Insight.
Yeah, it was actually just like Bashim said, like we were both pretty fast connected on the music side, so we actually didn't have to talk that much about the verses or something like this because we just did our parts. We both had a similar, more or less similar idea about the track, how it should be. And then we just delivered our shit and like made it happen.
Yeah, man. And Lenny, you were adamant about being a part of this group. Wait, did you make the beat for this?
No, actually not. Like, I wanted to make like.
I didn't think you did, but
no,
you really were part of the group, right? That's why we wanted to bring you into this. What role did you play in this collaboration?
Yeah, so they were like thinking about the video, and I jumped into that. Like that was like not the basic idea what I wanted to do in this whole project, but it kind of went the way that I started to like bring in ideas, and then like in the end, like I filmed like Tolga's part, like parts of it, and in the end like cutted all the stuff together, which I didn't do before. So this was like such a fun process for me, and yeah, I got myself like into the cutting and stuff, and then I did that, which was super cool. Edit. And yeah, and also like shout out to Olat helping me like filming like Tolga's parts.
And now you and Ba are working on music moving forward, right? Like you guys are going to start are either working on tracks or going to continue working on tracks.
Yeah, like that's like the beauty about the project. Like I just sent like Bashim this beat in the process, and then like he jumped on it. Like it took like 5 days, and we had like the track done. And it's like it's on the side of the project, but I guess also like that's what the project is about, like to connect and to like do future work. So hey, that was like, it's such a blessing to meet you, Bashim, and yeah, to work with you guys like in the group together. It was fun.
Awesome, man.
Thank you, man. Far beyond, I don't know, but for me, is this is like the third time now that we've been interviewing people and hearing about people doing something for the first time, and that's what I think is beautiful too. Not just people moving within their creative field, but also trying new stuff and experimenting about that. So it's really good to hear that from you guys.
Yeah, man. Well, congratulations, guys. We're gonna bring you back up in a little bit. Once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Let's keep this going and bring up our second to last act. We're a little behind schedule, but not as late as I thought it would be. Our second to last act, let's bring up Inez and Ming, who you've seen before, but they also collaborated on something.
They're back.
They are back. Guys, we're gonna watch your video and we'll continue the conversation after this. This is CYW by Inez and Ming.
This is how the story goes. Here I am, once again.
Stuck in the same 4 legs of a chair.
What's keeping me here?
I know what I want. My vision is clear.
But what about the path?
Now that always gets blurry.
On one hand, time only ticks one way, so I gotta hurry.
Yet again, why worry? Success doesn't come overnight.
You're right. At least not my definition of it.
Alright then, so what is it that you plan on doing?
I need some fresh air. Gotta dig deep into my soul.
Damn, I really gotta shave.
Let me ask this. What eases your weight?
What do you mean, what eases my weight?
I mean, what keeps you awake? What keeps you alive? Allows the wings in your backs to spread out and fly?
Well, it's the everyday hustle, making it through the subtle pains of the concrete jungle.
What you do for a living?
Me?
Yeah, you. Who else am I talking to?
Well, I'm an artist, a singer. I reap my thoughts like a harvest, feeding you the fruits with the seeds I planted when I was farming. Compose hard truths and send them out into the market.
Are you starving?
Some days, but it's deeper than that. I'm deeper than rap, it's deeper than rap. Honestly, I get hungrier when I lack the imagination to bake and create. But I'm always contemplating the lines, avoiding the shine of the diamonds. So when the movement begins, you'll remember who designed it.
But what if you don't make it?
I'll still go ahead and go try. But what about you? What keeps your life ripe and alive?
Me?
Yeah, you. Who else am I talking to?
Well, my eyes are on the prize. I study the words on a page so I can become a doctor, a lawyer, well, whatever helps me get paid.
You're sounding like Mr. Robot.
That may be true, but then again, there are layers behind it too.
Elaborate.
My mama kept me away from this wilderness of the streets, that if I mess with the wrong folks, all I have is jail food to eat.
But there's so much beauty behind the beat of the world.
True, but she warned me that penitentiary is a scary real. Mama seeing straps thinking we fooling, pretending it a gag for real. For gangsta tennis trap and venom from an 8-inch steel, you feel?
I feel for you, but let me pass you some advice.
Pass along.
Me and you are the same. Grew rooted from the ground and emerge with fresh life in our veins, to become one with the world that is never too late. You ask me the question, that's the answer that eases my weight.
But your life is too risky.
And yours is too nifty. The point is that success comes in different shades. Nobody's hunger is ever shared, but I care for me and I care for you because, like I said, even though our roads are different, the car we drive is one of the same.
Right.
We are back. Thank you. That was looking beautiful. I was actually blown away by that. So please let me know, because I think the graphic concept is beautiful. The whole concept of you communicating with each other. First of all, what does CYW stand for, and what's the whole philosophy behind it?
Yeah, so thank you. CYW stands for Carry Your Weight, which is it started off in a conversation that we had with Far in one of our meetings when we were talking about success, and both Vanessa and I realized that we had a very similar definition of it. So then I thought, oh, that's interesting. Like, let's meet separately and talk about it and see what is it exactly that we find and how we would define success for ourselves. And then from there, we started thinking about a more of a spoken word piece. And Ness mentioned that he is envisioning sort of more of a jazzy feel, to which I thought like, oh, I have a background in piano. I can try and play around a little bit with that and have a more free flow sort of feel to it. And I wrote a little bit of the text, and then Ness took it and expanded on it, wrote a beautiful piece. And then in terms of the visuals, because Ness and I, we were trying to figure out like, how do we represent this idea of a double conscious is basically what we're thinking, like the idea of having these thoughts in your mind, and how can we represent that visually? And because of the restrictions, you know, in terms of meeting and COVID and just because of that nature, it's just so much harder to meet. And then one day I think my friends were just playing like Grand Theft Auto, and I started thinking like, wow, look at this game. And I started thinking about, because I've played the games throughout my life, and I'm like, look at this game, and like, let's think back to how video games started. And then that made me think of like Game Boy games like Star Wars and the way like the dialogue would pop up for the characters. And I thought, wait, like, why don't we play around with that format? And I communicated with Vanessa, and Vanessa said, yeah, I mean, go for it. It looks cool. So yeah, and we just kind of put it all together. We were talking to Gigi throughout, and that's what we came up with.
That's a beautiful idea. Let me just summarize that for the German speakers quickly. Es geht hier wirklich ein Brainstorming, aus dem entstanden ist, was ihre Definition von Erfolg ist. Und CYW steht für Carry Your Weight, das heißt, trag dein Gewicht. Jeder hat ein Päckchen zu tragen, jeder hat eine andere Definition. Und diese inneren Dialoge sind das Thema dieses Tracks. So, a lot of respect for that. Look beautiful.
Yeah, man. Inez, it's your second project. Was the process similar or different? I mean, how did it differ working on both projects?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's actually very interesting. So, because I know like for Paradise Brooklyn, that project, I worked more on production of the beat actually. And versus this one I focused more on containing like with the lyrics and having that conversation. And even though they both are involved with musically, I would say that they're different beasts entirely, because one focuses more on sound while the other one focuses more on the dialogue and the ideas within that dialogue.
Yeah.
And I found it very interesting working on both projects, because even though I was focusing on both at the same time, it did allow me to really express different ideas that I was going through in that moment. And I thought that was very interesting going through at the same time.
Thank you so much, Inez. Thank you guys once again for your video. We're going to keep the show going because we want to bring it home strong. Thank you. Before we bring up the next group, though, I don't want to forget to shout out our funders, right?
Yes.
This would not be possible were it not for the financial support of some great organizations. We had the Goethe Institute, NYC, New York City in particular. Goethe has supported this project since the very beginning, but it was great for us to be able to get the support of the New York City branch to support the New York City work. And then we have a second funder.
Are you going to be able to pronounce that?
No, I'm not going to be able to pronounce it.
We can try that. You can say that. Paritätische. Der Paritätische. You can do it.
Der Paritätische. Wait, der Paritätische.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
But that's not the full name. Can you say the full name?
Okay, you want Der Paritätische Wohlfahrtsverband? You want the whole thing?
Wait, you don't just say it. Don't add words afterwards because it sounds like it's part of it. So go ahead.
Okay, since it's the Goethe Institute and the Paritätische Wohlfahrtsverband, we gotta say it in Germany too. Danke für die Unterstützung, nicht nur bei diesem Projekt, sondern schon über die ganzen vergangenen Jahre und aber jetzt auch in dieser virtuellen Form. Also vielen Dank dafür.
Excellent. So let's finish this off strong with our last group bringing to the stage. Let's give it up for Mickey, George, Max, Bashim, and Tatiana.
What's up?
Yeah.
What's up?
Hey. It's so great having you guys with us. We're going to watch a teaser of the video, okay? It is not the full video, just for people out there. You know, you can see all the work that's being created. We're in quarantine, so it's not like we could make things happen. This is a teaser. We'll continue the conversation afterwards. And yeah, let's watch this teaser.
Yeah, it's an international alignment. Different stories of triumph that come together and form alliance. Yeah, you know this the hottest thing. Who the hell is really stopping this? Must be a hater, and if they hate you, you made it. Dankeschön. Yeah. Earn it all. Brooklyn Bridge to the Berlin Wall. And of course, you know we serving raw. The language is something endearing. I tried to say it, and I was like, yo, it's so schwierig. Every time when I hear it, Brooklyn to Germany, started matching our energies. We both stay protected from our enemies. Had some bad times, had some better days. Last year I got hit with machete blades, but I still kept it moving like a renegade. I'm in sicko mode, did the sickest flow. COVID-19 hit you with the second wave. Black.
Eine internationale Gemeinschaft, trotz Corona sind wir nicht vereinsamt. Der kreative Content wird verdreifacht. Wir kommen hot wie ein Meteoriteneinschlag. Geboren in Berlin, aufgewacht in New York. In Flugzeug gestiegen, war mit der Crew dort. Den Schaff gemieden. Wie beim Sport, gewaltig wie Lawinen, lauf ich im Moonwalk. Es sind Tatiana, Bashim und Mickey, dann noch kommen Jersey und Gigi. Wir zerreißen Beats so wie Boga. Gib ihm, na sicher, connected und doch entfernt. Leben alle unter dem gleichen Stern. Von der Berliner Wall bis Brooklyn Bridge, alle verbunden durch Covid-Shit.
CCN2 auf den Speakern, Dicker, trotzdem sind wir international. Von der Bronx bis nach Berlin, ja, Leute merken, dass wir ready sind. Mickey Bar, Black Max, Bill und Gigi auf diesem Rap-Fan. Durch Liebe, Versprechgesang, Texte sind wir connected, rotieren wie Backflips. Real, recognize, real, worldwide, we keep it trill, keep it 100. Telling on this side is abundant. This song like a show real, best of both worlds, yeah, you know the drill. Not with the long talking, I mean you can always say something, but we put the work in.
you believe we the chillest? Never stop, we the realest. Cashing checks, running digits. Catching flights, taking field trips. International figure. No one fucking with us. New York coming with us. Murder with us.
Very dope. Very dope. That is awesome. You want to start us off, Joe?
Basically, I just want to know, like, this is like an intense thing, right? This is feels like it's right popping in my face right there. How did you come up with the idea? Like, what were the thoughts behind it? Just let us know how you connected, how you came up with the idea and the topic of the song.
Tatiana, do you want to start?
Well, I came in a little bit late. What I went off of was Mickey at first. He always was talking about how everybody was connected. Basically, his verse was about how we were connected. So I went off that as a hook. And then everybody just kept on talking about how we were connecting. So the whole song, I think, was based on how we as a team connected together and became like what we were. Like, basically we flourished in the whole process. I think it was a smooth process too.
Awesome. Were there any challenges in particular that you guys struggled with?
Me?
I mean, I don't. I mean, anyone who wants to jump in.
I mean, we struggle with the collaboration part where you know because it's basically 5 people on one track, so it's basically like bouncing the song here and there all over, you know, so everybody could get their vocals, you know, on the track, and how the video could come together with the same vocals, you know, so it's like everywhere, you know.
Yeah, no, it makes sense that the struggles were kind of all across it. Be one thing if we were in the same place using the same studio and the same camera person, right? But you guys literally had 5 different parts recorded in 4 different places, and then to pull a video together, you know, needed 4 to 5 different videographers or filmmakers to try to pull this together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mickey, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I don't know, something's wrong with my headphone. I don't know what happens just now.
You sound good, man. Don't worry about it.
Anyways, yeah, so yeah, just to go over what Tatiana was saying, definitely, like, cause I listened, I was going through the beats. I'm like, all right, let me listen to some of these joints, you know. So it was like over like 30 beats, I don't even know. But it was dope, the fact that just going through it and just listening. And the way I started off, because when I heard the beat, I'm like, and I went to go check out everybody's music, you know, within whoever was part of the program. So I heard by Sheen, I heard by Black, and then I was like, you know what, yo, jump on this. You know, I like your vibe. Let's just hop on this. You feel me? And then I had a convo with him like, yo, we should go in. You feel me? I like competition, but at the same time, I like collabing more. You know, so I'm like, yo, why not two booking people coming in, and boom. So George hopped on it and Max hopped on it too. So I'm like, all right, cool. Tatiana, kind of like what she was saying, she came towards the back end, and I'm like, yeah, you know, sometimes we want to also put, you know, women MCs and women that are part of the program that be able to be like, yeah, you know, they could rap too, you know, or they could do their thing. So it's like, yo, why not jump on it if you can?
Yes.
Let me ask you guys one more thing, because I mean, we were all in a special situation during most of the project. You've been in a lockdown in New York. We've been in a more or less hard lockdown in Berlin too. So, did participating in that project and like coming up with the verses that you've been writing and recording have any impact on your life during that time of quarantine?
Should I answer that, Mickey?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I remember Mickey and I talking about exactly this, and we exchanged a couple of really nice ideas. And I think one thing that really stuck on my mind was something that Mickey said. I think it was a week ago. It was like, experience is the best teacher ever, and you know, us being so far away from one another, pulling off something like this was really a real accomplishment that we all, you know, nourished from during these times. Although there were also a couple lessons that this virtual, you know, collaborating taught us, such as like you on one hand you see how important socializing for human beings is, right? But then your only possibility of doing so is virtually. So it's kind of, you're happy for that, definitely, like we're so thankful, so grateful for that, but like you're connecting virtually and kind of realize how you're disconnecting physically, right? Because the more you spend time with these people online, the more you start wanting to spend time with them in real life. So yeah, there's many lessons in this, and we're also grateful for it.
Yeah.
Let me just summarize that quickly in German, because I think it's important for people to hear. Nur nochmal, um das auf Deutsch zusammenzufassen. Ich denke, das war ein schöner Gedanke, dass es zwar eine Riesenchance war, hier sich virtuell zu verbinden und zu connecten und was zusammen entstehen zu lassen. Und gleichzeitig wurde über dieses virtuelle Verbinden immer wieder einem vor Augen geführt, dass eben die Connection nur virtuell geht und gerade nicht physisch geht und uns schon allen verdammt viel fehlt gleichzeitig. Und das zu erkennen, war ein großer Teil dieses Projekts.
I wanted to say, this is part one, just on that comment. This is part one, right? And hopefully part two happens when we're out of quarantine and people see what amazing project this is. And who knows, right? Next spring, next fall, right? The Germans come here to New York. You guys come to New York. We can build in person, and knock on wood, you know, there'll be another trip for New Yorkers to Berlin. But even if that doesn't happen, right? Like, I have a feeling Bashim is going to figure out a way to make his way out to Berlin at some point, right? You know, I have a feeling that some of the Berlin cats are going to find a way to come here to New York. And now we have fam, right? We have people that we can rely on. And actually, I just see Bashim put that in the chat in YouTube, right? This wasn't a program. This was a New York Berlin family. So big ups to y'all, man.
Hey, do we want to bring the whole family back in, maybe?
Yeah, why don't we bring the entire family in? Why don't everyone turn on their cameras?
Let us see your faces, everyone.
We can see everyone's face. You can see everyone who participated in this. Yo, this is amazing. This is amazing. We're still waiting for Valentina.
Invading my screen right now.
Oh, there's Olan. Yeah. Awesome, y'all. Yo, guys. Give yourselves a round of applause for doing such a phenomenal job throughout this. And once again, we want to thank our funders, our program participants. We want to thank two people specifically for today's work. Can we give a round of applause to Joe for co-hosting? Right, Joe's been involved with this exchange for going on a decade plus, and I want to thank Corey James Gray, Mr. Illspoken, and the Freestyle Mondays fam for helping put the virtual component together. I have a feeling you have a budget and you want to do a show that looks as good as this, reach out to Corey James Gray.
And let's not forget, make some noise once again for the man in Brooklyn, NYC, right there on the top left corner of my screen, far beyond.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. All right, y'all.
And the one at the bottom right here is Olad. So
give it up for Olad.
And I think we're going to see us the next time in real life, right?
Yeah, right. Stay tuned, because we have in-person exchanges, and also, just so you know, the Hip Hop Re-Education Project started a second cycle of All City. I have 12 young artists from all across the city, And our hope is to do another Cyber Cypher, not only with young participants from Berlin, but we're going to connect with young people in Cape Town, South Africa, potentially Jakarta, Indonesia, and potentially La Paz, Cochabamba, Bolivia. So stay tuned. We're making
Can I
it
give
happen.
a quick shout out before we bounce?
Yeah.
Before we bounce, I just wanted to also give a shout out to my organization, Gangway, because Joe and myself were just a small part of this organization. It's like 80 social workers. They work throughout the city of Berlin. They work in prisons. They work on street corners. And so this is about like helping young people. So this is the same thing. We utilize hip hop and culture and music and art and all of those things, but the goal is always the same. And in this case, dealing with a whole lot of young people who are dealing with very harsh circumstances, as we all do right now. And so I think we all should pull together and really make whatever happen to make it through this awful time, and then maybe get back to normality, and then come out to New York City, come out to all those places. So shout out to all those who are doing the work, and Gangway, the organization that we work for.
And since we added, I want to thank Youssef too for the all musical creativity he put in there, and especially last but not least, every single one of you for putting in your energy, your creativity, and connecting with each other. Has been a beautiful journey.
Yeah, man. Big ups to the producers, the engineers, and the artists. That is our show, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. See you on the flip side. Peace.
Peace.